Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have some market review, main cryptocurrency news from the last 5 days. A lot of interesting things happened for this period. First of all, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. To do this, you should click subscribe below the video. So first of all, traditionally, we are talking about main news, and in the end of my webinar, I looked at main cryptocurrencies and some currency, maybe top gainers or top losers. And I remind you, tomorrow is a very important event, EOS network. Launch, yes, for Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so first of all, maybe global news. It's very interesting news, I think. News from China. President and Chinese leader Xi Jinping, for the first time in a positive way, publicly spoke about the technology of the distributed register, recognizing its breakthrough potential, reported CoinDesk. He said blockchain is an important part of the technology revolution of the 21st century that China must implement in order to achieve economic success, as the Chinese leader said at the annual scientific conference organized by the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Since the beginning of the 21st century, as a new generation of the Industrial Revolution has significantly changed the structure of the world economy. Artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and blockchain, and making a breakthrough, the Chinese leader said. So Xi Jinping also noted that his country is striving to achieve prosperity in the conditions of global economic competition. To this end, China will create national laboratories with high standards to facilitate the research and development of new technology infrastructure. Yes, we know how hard trade for Chinese market, because few years ago, Chinese government authorities blocked some cryptocurrency exchange and cryptocurrency at all. So next news about Security Exchange Commission. SEC suspended an ISO project that allegedly supported PayPal and Boeing. Not positive news, but it's very important news. So the United States Security and Exchange Commission will terminate the Titanium Blockchain Infrastructure Service Incorporation ICO project, which illegally attracted $21 million from investors in the United States and beyond. This is stated in the press release of the Security Exchange Commission. So President Titanium Michael Stoller misled investors about the project relationship with the Federal Reserve and dozens of well-known companies, including Boeing, Verizon, PayPal, Walt Disney, and Walt Disney. Stoller publicist stated that he has relation with numerous corporate clients, and the site Titanium posted false reviews, said the Security Exchange Commission. So ICO was actively promoted through video clips in which investments in Titanium were compared with investments in Intel or Google. This ICO was based on promotion in social networks where information about business prospects was untrue and misleading investors. After considering several cases involving fraudulent ICO, we again urge investors to be particularly cautious. Statement said Robert Cohen is the head of the Cyber Division of Security Exchange Commission. On May 22nd, regulation first filed a complaint with the Federal District Court of Los Angeles. They blame Stellar and Titanium for violating and fraud provisions and federal security laws. The SEC is seeking judicial injunctions that will allow the return of illegally obtained income with finance and interest. And they are also looking for an opportunity to ban the founder of Titanium from releasing digital assets in the future. So next news about very interesting information, very optimistical. Some studies says a typical ICO investor receives 82% of the return of investments. So tokens of projects that failed to enter the exchange within 2 months bring guaranteed losses, but the average investor who invested in the initial placement of coins ICO received 82% of the profit. Such data contains a report of researchers from the Boston School of Management, Wallace Carroll. So a 54-page document titled Digital Tulips Profitability of ICO for Investors contains data on for nil-nil-3 ICO projects collected in a gridded $12 billion. According to the researchers, also many associated ICO with various types of fraud, the average investor still received significant profit. So the price of the token after listing on the crypto exchange grows by an average of 179% compared to the original one. Even those investors who were not in a hurry to acquire ICO tokens before their listing were able to get impressive profits, as prices rose by an average of 67% during the first 30 days of trading, as the income of investors who kept their tokens longer significantly increases by 140% in 90 days, 430% after 180 days, and 1,880% through 360 years, like 1 year. So data for longer periods is significantly less, since most tokens aren't traded for a full calendar year, the researchers note. So a report said, ICO investors receive a significant return on investments in new unproven platforms through unregulated offers. This suggests that fraud, also widespread, is not so important because investors are sure enough to discover it. Also, our result may include bubbles, as they are also consistent with high-risk compensations for investing in unproven platforms through irregular bids, this report said. Very interesting information. Of course, not all investors earn these big profits, but in the previous 2070 years, you could earn more money than 82%, of course. Next information, so we have some statistic, very interesting numbers. Bitcoin lost to Cardano, so VS rating published a rating of 93 cryptocurrency. So what this number say us. Financial rating agency Waste Rating published a rating of 93 cryptocurrency. 9 coins were rated E very weakly, and none were awarded quotation A, excellent. So all our cryptocurrency without A ranking. Cryptocurrency were assessed according to 2 criteria: technology and distribution, as well as risk and profit ratio. According to the researchers, the total score is based on a complex algorithm and not on the average of the 2 arithmetic indicators. So among the cryptocurrencies which a market capitalization of 5 billion or more, only 7 received a B and above. So it's Bitcoin, Cardano, EOS, Ethereum, Ripple, Stellar, and Tron. So we can see S, A is excellent, B good, C fair, D weak, E very weak. So we can see B and B minus, it's most of. But investment and risk rewards, D plus, it's very weak. Between weak and very weak. So cryptocurrency with a capitalization of 100 million Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Private, and Red Coin were awarded the D mark, and the leader among the weakest coins was the Electroneum E plus currency. And lowest rated cryptocurrency, as I said about this, it should be noted that judging by the data of the third column, research estimate and the risk of investing in the higher level cryptocurrency. So developers need an assessment based on what the cryptocurrency project has achieved in the context of technology and distribution, regardless for market fluctuation. Investors and invested in how much money they can earn or lose. Waste rates in the golden mean of the 2 parameters, explains the founder of agency, Martin Weiss. So it's investment risk and reward D plus. It's not good for investors, but we know how this cryptocurrency could grow up. Next news about trading, cryptocurrency trading, and Spencer Bogart has said cryptocurrency traders should only buy Bitcoin. I'm not absolutely agree with Spencer, but let's see what he said. Leading Bitcoin analyst with the Wall Street and partner of the venture firm Blockchain Capital, Spencer Bogart, during the Fast Money program at CNBC, said the cryptocurrency traders need only buy Bitcoin, since the spectrum of its application is constantly expanding. So what he stressed, all the big banks and try and enter the industry, they can offer direct purchase of Bitcoins to their customers, service for safe storage of digital assets or exchange mechanism for trading these assets. Deep institutionalization of Bitcoin is an extremely positive trend. Also, Bogart added that almost all the other coins are overvalued and don't cope with the goals set. However, he notes that Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, and EOS are natural alternatives that can be retained. And the analyst advised investors to sell Cardano, Tron, IOTA, and now totally disagree with Spencer, but it's a very good analyst. He said, of course, these tokens can grow in value, but they have a lot of obstacles. Booker also recommends that investors carefully interact with Ethereum, as the potential failure of the ICO industry, in his opinion, could significantly impact the platform. The price of Bitcoin, he believes, will overcome the $10,000 mark by the end of the year. I agree with Spencer for the last statement. Next news, very important, I think, for blockchain industry. Intel has applied for a patent for the mechanism of automatic block validation. So IT giant Intel filed a patent application for a computing device to automatically validate the blocks and add them to the chain. The relevant documentation is published on the website of the United States Patent and Trademark Office, USPTO. So the described validation mechanism differs from traditional mining based on a network of competing nodes. The computing power will be guided by the programmed parameters and that determine how the blocks are validated in the decentralized network. The application also states that distributed registers may not be the most efficient from the data storage. So what the document says, distributed registers have an inherent problem of scaling. All validators must keep a copy of all transactions, and all transactions must pass through all validators. This leads to an extremely large number of messages on the network. This document says. So the message flow can cause a scaling problem. So good luck, Intel, because it's very important for all our industries. And next, to news from Ethereum Classic and EOS. So first of all, in the network, Ethereum Classic was a successful hard fork. So developers, Ethereum Classic announced the successful upgrade of the network on the block 5,009,100, which allowed to eliminate the so-called complexity bump. It's difficult to determine the exact number of updates nodes. However, according to the developers participant in the project, most nodes and mining pools reported updating their software long before the planning upgrades of the network. It's at CoinDesk. So immediately after the upgrade, there were no signs of negative consequences of errors. It's expected that the update will shorten the time required for the sorting of the block and further off, both technically and ideologically, the blockchain Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Discussion of the fork began in 2016, while the Ethereum community is leaning towards the transaction to proof of stake. The Ethereum Classic community decided to continue using proof of work. According to the participant of Ethereum Classic, this way of achieving consensus is more effective in opposing centralization. And supporters of this approach argue that the proof of work algorithm requires that miners constantly invest in equipment and consequently in the blockchain. So, and the next and last one is about very strange situation about EOS. So, media says that EOS team fails Ethereum course at Bitfinex exchange. So, on the morning of May 28th, the volume of Ethereum trading on the Bitfinex exchange within an hour increased ninefold from 20,000 to 180,000. We can see the situation for this chart. According to the publication of trust notes, this may be due to the massive sale of ETH on the side behind which most likely was the EOS team. The publication notes that recently EOS spent 1.3 million ETH. A similar estimation was made by a Wicknote Twitter user, Whale Panda, and according to the Crowdsdale smart contract sales and Molson's address made as the owner of EOS. In total, the team has another 1.1 million ETH. At the same time, the funds received as a result of ISO enter the stock exchange from the EOS owner purse. So, in this case, the choice seems to have fallen on Bitfinex, where told a significantly large volume of trading was recorded that on other exchange as well as a lower price, just suggests 2 stones. So here we can see Bitfinex volume price. The publication also noted that at the time of the collapse of the price of Ethereum, the Binance current exchange started listing EOS and USDT. So I add that the launch of the main EOS network is launched for 1st June, so tomorrow, and the completion of the ICO project is planned in about 3 days. So very important day for EOS tomorrow and next 3 days. In the chart we have some long range we can see for 1 hour, so we can see some support, some resistance near 11 and 50 cent and 13, and of course we can a lot of resistance, for example 14 and $16. But I think tomorrow we can we will look for this cryptocurrency, because I think we have some opportunities for trading, and if you're day trader or some swing trader, you can apply some stop limits order if you see EOS higher than it at the moment. Maybe it's very, I think it's a very interesting target for 14 and 18. So first of all, yes, BTC dominations grows near 39%, and today we can see green side and very optimistic, more than 10% Cardano, Binance Coin, Nina near 10%, on chain, and so on. So top gainers today for IOTA is 14%, $1.77. I think it's a very prospects, to my mind, very prospects cryptocurrencies, and for its very good price. And I think we have some prospects and the end of the year, maybe $5, I think. So first of all, BTC, so the same situation like a few days ago. We have a very strong resistance near $7,600, and of course $7,000 $700. But I think if we have some power, we can break up and maybe go for the 8,000. But now we have some range and technically very strong resistance. Of course, the same situation we can see in the Ethereum. Yes, I talked about this. You can see on the chart. XRP 62, 63 cents, some big resistance. Litecoin $122. BCH $1,030. So our gain is added today. So our target is 40 cents. Near the same, but we have a very interesting support near 45 and 48 dollars, and very interesting resistance $44. And IOTA, I told a few minutes ago, very huge move of this cryptocurrency. Last 2 days, very interesting situation. So guys, first of all, and not first of all, it's the end of my speech. I remind you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. To do this, you should click subscribe below the video, and don't forget to click the bell and you always be aware of new streams and videos. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I say see you next week. Bye bye.